Hello and welcome to Mid-Year Kitchen Declutter. It's fabulous to see you here for those that have joined us live in the Zoom room. And hello to anyone watching on replay on YouTube. You can say hi to us too using the comments. We are going to talk a lot about kitchen decluttering and organizing today. If you are joining us live, let us know in the chat where you're joining us from and what you're looking to learn. Mary Lou, my awesome virtual assistant, thank you always for being there and keeping this show on the road. She's joining us from the Philippines. Susan's in Perth. Hi Susan. Hi. And she said she needs some motivation. Thanks for coming. Great to see you. And also, we've got a couple of others on here. I look forward to finding out where they're from and what they need help with. Again, if you are watching the recording on YouTube, you can use the comments and share those questions and ask me anything as well. So please feel free to participate. Thank you again for coming along and making time to be here. As I said, the session is being recorded to put on YouTube, but also to send it out to the people that were unable to join in person. It's 10 o'clock in the morning here in Melbourne on a Thursday morning. And sometimes that's just not the best time for others to be joining. So that's why we love to record it and share with the people that were unable to come live. And then we can reach the YouTube community as well, which is very cool. So again, thanks for coming. So the business space and time is all about making conscious choices about how we use our space and our time. It's all very deliberate. It's not, we're going to do this because I'm telling you. It's about coming up with good solutions for you and your family right here, right now, for you to manage your space and your time well. And alongside of that, we've set up systems to improve your life and to support those things that you want to do. If you want a nice, tidy kitchen, well, what are those systems we need to put around it for you to be able to keep it up once we've got it decluttered and organized? So there might be some changes that we'll make to the times of day you do things, or the time that you do the meal prep, the all sorts of things like that. So that's the sort of systems we're talking about to improve our daily lives. We've also asked you as well if you can share in the chat what your intention is today, and having that in mind when you're coming along to something like this really helps you learning. It helps you keep alert and asking questions and looking out for that information that you need help with. What are your challenges, so that you can move towards finding a resolution. And later in the session, I'm going to give you an opportunity to continue the decluttering journey. I'm already warm. I'm going to take my jacket off. Continue the decluttering journey after today. We've got lots of free workshops coming up, and we've got some opportunities to do some one-on-one work with me as well. So I'll be sharing that before we finish up. Very cool here this morning. It's only about 6 degrees, I think, but I've warmed up inside. I'm moving around and we are getting going. Here I am. This is me. I'm Julie Cliff. I'm a professional organizer and declutter coach. I'm the founder and owner of Space and Time, with a bundle of awesome people, including Mary Lou, helping me along the way. Hello, Bill. Bill Moore is just coming up. He's one of our prize students that comes along to all of our sessions. Hello, Bill. Fabulous for you to be here. Thanks so much for joining us. So as I was saying, I am Julie Cliff. I call myself a professional organizer when I'm in people's homes, as I'm going to do this afternoon, to help a young family sort out their home because they've just moved home. And I call myself a declutter coach when we're doing these online programs, and I'm coaching you, encouraging you, building up your motivation. Susan said she was looking for some motivation to get you going and for you to put these plans into process that we're going to be talking about today. So I was an executive assistant and administrator for 20 years before starting my business. So getting people organized in an office environment and helping them stay that way is something that I love to do. And I transferred a lot of those skills over to organizing people in the home. Lots of similar things that we can do and bring over from an office environment. Been hanging out with a big group of professional organisers in Melbourne for almost 10 years, started my business 8 years ago. And once I found found my tribe of professional organisers, I have not looked back. I'm married, have a husband and 2 sons, and everybody's out of the house today. So it's very nice to be presenting to you while it's nice and quiet here today. I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat. Bridget, thanks for coming. She said she's from Sydney, looking for ideas on storage in a small kitchen and letting rarely used but lovely items go. Awesome, Bridget. We will have a look at those things for you today. So the format of our presentation today is going to be the 6 steps of the space and time organizing system. And we will quickly go through those 6 steps now so you know what they are, and then I'm going to go into each one of them a little bit more detail. The first step, and probably the most important step of the whole space and time organizing system, is stop the stuff from coming in the front door in the first place. Don't bring any more kitchen stuff in, just so that we can start to tackle the backlog. We'll talk about that shortly. The second step is your commitment to being organized. We might need to make some tweaks and do things a little bit differently to get you back on track. But we need to make that commitment to do so. The third step is sort the stuff. Got some great examples of sorting things in the kitchen to show you today. The fourth step of the space and time organizing system is things you no longer need. So that's what Bridget was just saying. How can we let go of this stuff that we don't use very often, but it's really nice? What can we do with it, and how can we say goodbye to it? The fifth step is easy storage. Someone else was also asking for easy storage options. So let's have a look at that. And then we'll also look at maintenance tips. How can we keep it all organized? Now, this was a pantry that I did a number of years ago. That little person there on the left in this photo is much bigger than that now, but we were getting the pantry sorted and brought some of the things out into the kitchen just to start sorting it. So I love to show that picture. It looked pretty good by the end of it, that I must say. Okay, how can we stop more stuff from coming into the home? And today we're talking about the kitchen specifically. But what is the big deal of having too much stuff? Why do we always say that we need to declutter and get organized? Well, one of those big things is that we can't find anything. It's so frustrating. It's like, I know I have a whisk somewhere, and you're opening all the drawers, you're wasting time, you're getting frustrated. And particularly if you've got the kids involved and they're trying to help you as well, and everyone's just getting grumpy. It's really frustrating, as I said, overwhelming. And sometimes you have to rebuy something because you really can't find where that pasta maker is, and you go and buy another one, and then lo and behold, a couple of days later you find the other one. So it can cost you money to not be organized, and so much frustration. And also, of course, it takes longer to prepare meals. So rather than just having those things at your fingertips that you use often, you're running around the kitchen, you're running around the pantry and opening all the cupboards trying to find things. And it's just not very much fun when we're all time poor, exhausted at the end of the day, trying to get everybody's dinner sorted out. It takes longer if you are unorganized. And it's just not conducive to starting to prepare if everything is already all over the kitchen bench or over the kitchen table, wherever you're doing those preparations. It's just not very inspiring to get started. So let's stop more stuff from coming in so that we can start to get ourselves sorted out. And here are some ways that we can stop more stuff from coming into the kitchen. And one thing, of course, we really need to be careful of is to be aware of the sale items and the gadgets, particularly mid-year at the moment. I'm not sure if it's the same overseas, but it's absolutely sales mad, sort of end of financial year here in Australia. And that, buy this before the year, buy this because it's a tax break. And it's like, all of the sales are just going absolutely crazy. So we need to really be diligent to know, do I really need another KitchenAid or another special gadget that chops and whizzes and dices? Or can I just go and continue to use the one that I have? Even if that one is $1,000 cheaper than normal, do you really need it? So just be aware of those sales. You know, they spend thousands, if not millions, on these sales strategies. So just be very wary of them so that you're not bringing unwanted stuff into the home. Another great way is to stop bringing more things into your kitchen is to borrow stuff from your neighbor, you know, or a friend or a family member. If you want to make some juice, if you want to make a curry, if there's a special appliance, if you need a pasta maker, if there's something special you need, get a few of your buddies together and have a bit of a swap system going on. And you might want to put a few rules around it, how long you can borrow from. You know, you don't need to be too, don't get the red tape happening too much, but just a couple of rules about looking after the appliances and when to return them. But how about the idea that not everybody needs to have a pasta maker? Not everybody needs a slow cooker or a pressure cooker or a KitchenAid or a Thermomix. Maybe we can share them around a bit. So let's see if we can stop more stuff coming in by that sort of sharing idea. Or how about hiring it? Maybe you may need to pay a little bit of money occasionally when you're going to make up that big batch of bolognese sauce or your special pasta sauces that you're doing with your families each year. Maybe you could hire that big pot that you need, or some other appliances and gadgets and whizzes and all of those special kitchen things. How about you may hire something then? Or particularly I was thinking special occasions, or also weddings or funerals or even Christmas. Maybe you could hire some of those things so that you're not having them cluttering up your kitchen all the time. They're just a seasonal things. You'd pay a little bit of money to borrow it from someone, hire it, and then return it. And then, of course, coming back to that point of be aware of the sales, take a shopping list with you and stick to it when you're going out to these places to look for something, because sometimes we absolutely need something. Something has broken and we do need to replace it, but just be wary. I need this, and I need this, and try and keep your blinkers on a little bit and not come home with a bundle of stuff that you don't actually need. So there were some ideas on letting go of stuff in the kitchen. And this one here is more to do with your pantry. And when I talk pantry, it might be a cupboard or wherever you put your food items. But again, have an idea of meal planning. What are you going to eat this week? Which can be helpful for not overbuying. So you're going out to the shops. You need some food. What did I come home with the other day? Something that I don't normally come home with, and my husband made comment on it. I said, yep, I was hungry when I was shopping, so it wasn't the best time to go out shopping at that time, and I wasn't sticking to my meal plan. But if you plan what you're going to eat this week, transfer it to a shopping list, do your shopping regularly, then you have more chance of sticking to what you said you're going to eat. That might be part of your healthy eating plan as well. And it'll save you money. You're not buying all that junk at the end of the aisles that they put there and all those special prices. But if you have a bit of a plan sorted out. So we're thinking about here in this step of stop the stuff, stop more pantry items, that is food items, from coming into the house that we don't need. And again, if we're talking about shopping for food, be careful of those big chains like Costco, where you're buying the biggest packet of chips or rice and things, and only one person in the house eats that type of chips or eats that rice. So just be buying the food that you and your family eat in the quantities that you eat. So just be wary of that as well. And as I said, buying the quantity that you're going to eat. I have a container that's about this big for my flour. I do baking sort of once a week, but take us a little while to go through 1 kilogram of flour. So the 1 kilo of flour, I can just put it straight into the plastic Tupperware container, and just that 1 kilo would fit in. So I don't buy any bigger than 1 kilogram. I don't pour it in and have little bits left over, and those little bits don't get used, or they get nibbled on by little creatures, or they end up just making the place look a bit messy. I have the correct size container for the amount of food that we use based on how often we eat it and also how often we go shopping. So I'm spitting a lot of information out to you today, but really want to pack it in with some tips. Again, we're going to send this out to everybody, to you guys, as well as the people that couldn't come today, and you can refresh it. You can watch it again later and get some more ideas on all this information I'm spitting out. But this step, stopping more stuff from coming into the kitchen and the pantry in the first place, is a really good one to start, because then we've got less to manage in the first place. Have you got some ideas of some of those things that I just mentioned that you might do, or that you might start doing, or a different way that you manage your kitchen, your pantry? Pop it in the chat now. I'd love to hear from you. How do you stop more stuff from coming into your kitchen and pantry in the first place? All right, as those comments are coming in, I'm going to move on to the second step of the space and time organizing system, and that is your commitment to being organized. As I said before, if you found yourself in a little bit of the pickle, you've got some challenges around organizing and decluttering your kitchen, then we might need to tweak the way that you're doing something. So just like if you're trying to get healthy, or you want to do more running, anything like that, we need to make some changes to how we're going about doing something. So let's make that commitment. Yes, I do want to be more organized, so we're going to have to start to do things a little bit differently. Just let me have a quick look at the chat. Thank you, Wendy. She says online shopping with the list helps. Absolutely. And then you're not buying the impulse items at the shop. That is a great one, Wendy, doing an online shop and just searching for those items you want, maybe not just scrolling through everything you've ever bought. That can be a trick. But I love that idea, Wendy, that then you're not bombarded with all the things in the shop when you go walking down the aisles. Online shopping can certainly help in that way if you are diligent and stick to your list. Beautiful. All right, let's get back to your commitment to being organized. I was saying about let's start. And the idea is let's just start small. Again, with any changes that we're trying to make consistently in small increments is the best way to make any changes. Again, whether it's your health, whether it's your fitness, we don't just go and, start doing 1,000 sit-ups in a day. We would build it up. So it's the same with decluttering and getting organized. We can literally put the timer on, use your watch or your phone, or get yourself a kitchen timer and make that commitment. Put it in the diary. If you've got a paper diary, write it down. On Tuesday at 10 a.m. and then on Thursday at 10 a.m. I'm going to do 10 minutes and I'm going to do one shelf in the pantry. And that is a great way to start. And then you just do 10 minutes and continue around, and you will be amazed how you can get going. If you still have some more time after that 10 minutes, absolutely go for it. You can continue, but don't leave yourself in more mess than you started. Make sure you got time for packing up. Run off to an appointment and then come home and go, oh yeah, we've got people coming from dinner, and you've still got half of the pantry items on the island bench. So be a little bit careful with your time, but absolutely suggest you to put it in the diary. If it's not in the diary, it doesn't exist, and you'll just come up with other excuses. You'll rather wash the cat or, vacuum the lawn. You'll come up with anything other than doing the decluttering, that special task that really should be prioritized. So let's get it in the diary and keep that commitment, just like you would a doctor's appointment. You're not going to ring up and cancel and just not do it. You will commit to it and you're going to go ahead and write yourself a bit of a reason as to why you're doing this. This one says, as that bottom point says, I can find what I want in 30 seconds or less. So that might be items in the kitchen. It might be food. It might be anything, again, in the kitchen that we're talking about. I can find what I need in 30 seconds or less. So it's like, oh, we're going to have risotto tonight. So you can easily go and find the arborio rice, where it is, organized as you like it, and can find it in 30 seconds or less, rather than have to pull everything off the shelf with 1,000 other packets of rice. Being committed and making these small commitments and keeping those commitments top of mind, because sometimes it can get tricky. We're going, oh, that's right. That's what all this hard work is for. This is why I want to get myself more organized. As I said before, let's put it in the diary. Let's get a weekly planner. Let's put all your commitments in for the week and put the decluttering in there. Is it Tuesday and Thursday at 10? Is it a few hours on Saturday? Find a good time that's going to suit you and book an appointment with yourself. If you're in Melbourne and you need help, book an appointment with me or one of my team members. Or you can get a friend or a buddy to come along and help you. But if we're going to be committed to this, if we want to declutter and get organized in our kitchen and further in our lives, we just need to start small. It probably took a little while to build up and get a little bit more, a bit disorganized. Maybe it used to be awesome until you started full-time work or the kids came along. Let's start to come back to some of those skills you used to do, and those processes you used to use and the routines you used to use, or let's create some new ones so that we can get organized. Which of these tips have been helpful for you in this step about getting committed to being organized? Thank you, Mary Lou. She's just popped a link to this weekly planner in the chat if you would like your own copy of it and plot out your whole week. It's a great way to get the decluttering done, and as well as everything else that we need to get done. What did you find helpful in that step of your commitment to being organized? Is it the starting small? Is it putting the time in the diary? Or was it just, oh yeah, that's right, I used to do my shopping every Thursday. That used to really work well for me. Maybe that's something that you could get back to and get you on track. Let me know in the chat what was helpful for you in that step. All right, we are moving on now to the SYS, the third step, the sorting step in the space and time organizing system. This is my utensils drawer here at home. I was just looking how nice and clean it is. I think I need to get Charlie, my youngest son, to give it a good clean out on the weekend. He does a lot of our home care. I think I need to get him on it because that's looking very neat and tidy there. All right, so the third step, sort the stuff in the kitchen. I love this sorting step when we're working in people's homes. Get all of the utensils out, put them on the kitchen bench and start sorting them out. Let me show you this picture and then I'm going to come back to that. Because that big jumble of stuff there is difficult to manage. It's hard to know what's there. You might be able to pick a couple of things off the top and say, I don't need that anymore. But once we get it sorted out like this, we absolutely can see what we've got and start to let some things go that we no longer need. You may laugh, and I tell this story every time with my 7 vegetable peeler. And would you believe, Mary Lou and Bill and a few others that have been on this decluttering workshop before, that we have another vegetable peeler. Jason bought a different one. So we have 8 vegetable peelers now, but they do all fit in my drawer, as you just saw from that picture before. So I'm not particularly fussed. But if we did need to downsize, vegetable peelers may be one of those things that could go. But my point being that things sorted are much easier to see and make some decisions on. Again, you can, as I said, we can start with the all of those little gadgets, but also how about small appliances? Let's get them out of the different nooks and crannies in the walk-in robe, not walk-in robe, but there might be some in the walk-in robe. I did find some in the dining room this week. In the walk-in pantry, there may be some cupboards up high, down low, wherever. Get all those little appliances out, because I did find 2 rice cookers recently. They had no idea they had 2 rice cookers. They were identical, 2 of them. So that was an easy one to be able to let go, because I didn't need 2 of them. Then you can put all your baking equipment together, or your dishes, your bowls, your serving spoons, or the cutlery. And then, as I said, you can get it together in some sort of order, and then, which is the next step, we can start to let go of some of this stuff. But sorting it can be really helpful to be able to, as I say, see what we've got, because that big jumble before was really not very helpful to be able to help us what we've got. So that was helping us sort the kitchen items, but how about sorting our food in the pantry as well? You could use some of these categories as well, might be helpful. Put them biscuits and snacks together, treats, cleaning products, pasta, and I should say rice, I think, not rice. Anyway, Mary Lou, can you make a note to change that? Pasta, rice, and other grains. It should be rice. Nuts and seeds, breakfast cereals, desserts, paper goods, baking condiments. Feel free to take a photo of this, or come back to the recording for these categories. Thank you for the thumbs up. Canned and packaged goods, drinks, toiletry, spices, sauces, and oil. So you can use some of these sort of categories to start sorting, which again will help you with the going on stage. It's going to help us with the decluttering, and it's also going to help us with the storage, because we've got all of these things together. And as I said, when I'm in people's homes, stuff can be sprawled all over the kitchen and multiple places of the home, including spilling out into the garage sometimes if they've only got a small space in the kitchen. There's a bit more room in other areas of the home. So let's bring it all together. Category at a time though. Don't bring probably all the food out. As I said, we're just starting small. It might be one shelf, and just get that one sorted out and move through the pantry. But hopefully these categories will give you a bit of an idea. Is there some particular pantry items or gadgets that are accumulating at your house? Just let me go back to the chat. Oh yeah, Bridget was saying about the small kitchen. She's got some lovely things. Bridget, was there something in particular that's been accumulating? That are they gadgets that are accumulating, or just stuff in general? Let us know in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Be interested to know what has been accumulating at your house. I will move on to the next step while Bridget lets us know about that. And also other people, let us know what else is accumulating at your house. Bridget says baking dishes have been accumulating. Yeah, they do happen to do that, isn't it? So we will talk about decluttering shortly, but even just getting them out, lining them up, sorting them by size, by the type, what you use them for, might be helpful to be able to go, that is a beautiful dish. It came from grandma. She gave it to me for my 18th, but I've never used it. So that might be something that sorting might help us with. Susan says cake tins, beautiful. Again, we might be able to get them all out, Susan, and go, these are the different sizes, the different shapes, the different reasons for using them. Let's see if we can come up with that. Bridget says rice and pasta. That does tend to multiply, doesn't it? We sort of really need to keep a bit of a grip on it, have it easily and clearly in our faces, labeled, and be able to refer to that before we go shopping, I think is a good way to stop that from getting too out of hand. So we've got a good idea what we've got before we go shopping. I know sometimes we go to the supermarket and we don't have a list. So it is always nice to have rice and pasta. But of course, they do have expiry dates. They're probably very, very long. But other little creatures, as I said, love to nibble on those sorts of things. So we don't want them from hanging around too many or for too long either. All right, thanks, girls, for your participation. I'm going to look at this next step, which is the decluttering step. Excuse me for referring to my watch often. It reminds me to say things as we're going along, as well as, you never know, the children may need me. I'm sure they won't, but it's handy to be able to keep an eye on what's going on. So this is the SYST. This is the 4th step, things you no longer need. So now that we've got things sorted and we can see them, then it's very easy to be able to start to let things go. And we can let go of duplicates as a nice, easy one. That first kitchen I showed you at the start with all the things on the kitchen bench when we were getting that pantry organized. In the same kitchen, I found 16 wooden spoons in all different places, containers on the bench, in the drawers. A lot of them were being used and they are for different reasons. This lady is a baker, but I'm pretty sure we got rid of at least half of them, maybe not quite that many. But she had no idea she had 16 wooden spoons, but just by putting them together and sorting them, we found them. As I said, 2 rice cookers, the duplicates we can let go, or as I mentioned before, if I didn't have room for my 8 vegetable peelers, that is certainly something I could let go of because they are duplicate items and I don't really need 8. So what have you got at home, as we're saying about the baking dishes, girls, or the cake tins? Once you get them sorted, if you've got multiple of the same size and you don't really need them, I know you do need 2 sponge tins and that sort of thing to work together, or maybe you might have a special birthday cake recipe and you do need 2 of the same, but there might be something 2 or 3 or more of something else you've never ever used before. Perfect to be able to let go. Let's let go of the easy things first. Or how about unwanted appliances? Perhaps you could make a couple of dollars by selling the unwanted appliances, like a bread maker or a wok or a NutriBullet, something, or some other fancy gadget. Try selling it. Not sure how much you'll get for it or whether it's worth the effort, but give it a go. Or just find your local buy nothing or buy swap and sell on Facebook group and be able to just pass it on to somebody else. I get rid of so much stuff on our local buy nothing group. It is just phenomenal. Things that you'd never think that anyone would ever want. It's fabulous. So let it go. Let go of out of date food. Of course, the dates on things are usually just a guide, but you can be the judge of whether you want to hold on things past their use by. That's completely up to you. But the birds might like it if you decide to let it go, or if it's really close to the use by and you know you're not going to use it in time. Well, firstly, you could put it on your meal plan and actually use it really quickly and get it done. Or there are lots of pantries, your local pantry out there, food share sort of pantry, what are they called, community pantries that are desperate for foods and things for people at the moment. So if they're getting close to use by, use it up yourself or pass it on to somebody in need. I have a lovely lady, Margaret, that I network with. She runs a networking group and she does also cook meals for people in need all the time. So she's always taking things from my clients that they don't want. And again, Asylum Seekers Resource Centre close by to us is happy to take some of those things. So these are different ways that we can let go of things that you no longer need, even if it's a gift. The person gave it to you. It is yours. It is no longer theirs. They have no right to come and say, oh, how's that thing going? Or how's that? Well, it's none of their business. It's yours. They gave it to you. You don't like it. You don't use it. Never liked it. Never used it. Let it go. And clear up the space for other things that you do like and do want to use. And then also going forwards, give yourself a bit of a limit as to how much stuff you will keep. The girls were talking before about pasta and rice accumulating. As I said, find yourself a nice tub. I should have brought some bits and pieces in with me today. Get a little tub, a cardboard box, and go, all right, this is all the rice that I am keeping at the moment. I'm not going to buy any more until that gets down to about half empty. So give yourself some boundaries and rules around how much of stuff you're going to keep. And you can use this all the way through the house, this idea, certain amount of shoes, certain amount of pairs of pants. But in the kitchen is a great place as well to just give yourself some limits as to how much stuff you will keep. What are some other ways that we can let go of stuff that we no longer need? I love the idea of just donating. Just let it go. Again, if it's a really expensive piece of equipment, absolutely worth the effort, like a Thermomix or something. The secondhand ones of those do very well. But if it only costs you a few dollars at Kmart or one of the big chains, pass it on to somebody. As I said, you will be surprised how what people will take or what they need. So please just let it go. I just woke up my printer by accident. Sorry about that. Just went whir. So what are some other techniques that I missed? Mary Lou, you've seen these workshops 1,000 times. Is there something that I haven't said, or is there something that somebody else has used today for letting go of items they don't need out of the kitchen? Or do you give yourself a time limit? Is it something that if you haven't used it for 12 months, you let it go? Or something like that. What's another technique to help you let go of things you no longer need? Those sentimental items can be tricky, but they're no good to anybody if they're sitting in the back of the cupboard not being used. You know, what is sentimental to you may be useful to somebody else. So let's pass it on. What makes the world go round? Let me have a look. Susan said food colorings. Is that something else that accumulates at your house, Susan? You're a bit of a baker as well. Something that accumulates. That sounds very, sounds like you might need a lot of colors, although I suppose you can mix them, match and that sort of thing. But maybe that might be something that is a bit of a trick for her. All right, I'm going to sneak along to storage. So we are up to SYSTE, easy storage, the 5th step, easy storage for the stuff. And it is so important and so deliberately put as step number 5, because although if you're in the kitchen and the pantry, it can be helpful to have a few containers or boxes to help you get yourself sorted out. Don't go out there and buy millions of them until you exactly know what you're storing. We've already done the decluttering. We've already got it into those categories. And then we can go, oh, right, okay, I need about this bigger container for the pasta. I need a smaller one for the other baking stuff. I need a big container for the food colorings, as one of the girls just mentioned that she had. So you'll have an idea when we get to this step of what storage that you need. And the idea of storage is to create permanent homes for your things so that you know where they are and can reach and grab them, but you also know where to put them back to. And that just saves you so much time when you have those permanent homes. That easy storage needs to be easy. If it's having to get the ladder out every time to reach up to that thing, you know, that's not something you want to do every day. If it's something that's used often in the pantry or in the kitchen, it would want to be sort of around your stomach height or between your shoulder and your knees, so that you're not having to reach up and bend down too much, that sort of thing. I call that prime real estate. for storing things. So once we've got things into the categories, we sorted it earlier. Now we've let go of the things that we no longer want. We know what we want to keep. And we've got some idea on how frequently we use that stuff as well. So where are you going to put it? Again, if it's something you use often, make it easy to get to. If it's heavy, let's put it down in the bottom shelves, so that you're not lifting something heavy above your head. And of course, consider your physical strength and your mobility. A lot of my clients come to me, they have a disability of some sort. So mobility and their strength can be something that they are challenged with, or their eyesight is not very good. I'll show you an example of that in a second. So let's consider that as you're getting yourself organized. Again, I said about easy storage, and this step being number 5. This is the time that you can knock yourself out with getting yourself perfectly organized if you want. If you want matching containers and make it look beautiful like the home edit and it's all color coordinated, this is the step to do it. We know what we're keeping, we know what we've got. It's organized into categories. Now we can go and get the right size basket. The right size, as in measure it, measure your shelf, the depth of it, the width of it, the height of the shelves, and then you can go out and do your shopping and get the right number of stuff now. And as I said, let's make it easy to be able to access. Now, there are 1 billion and more storage items on Pinterest and TikTok and everywhere. So I'm going to give you a few ideas on storage options or how to go about finding the right option. But you can easily just Google, storage for small kitchen, or storage for lots of rice, or storage for food colorings, those sorts of things. You can look specifically for what you need, but this is going to give you a few ideas here for some storage options, but keeping it simple. Again, this doesn't look beautiful. I don't do beautiful. A couple of girls on my team do beautiful. I need to actually update. Mary Lou, would you mind making a note? We'll update the slides to include the beautiful pantry that Doreen did do a few weeks ago, just for an example, but not all of our clients want things perfectly. All right, so on the left there is a clear Perspex tub that's come from Kmart, and then we've just labeled what is in that tray. This is a client that has visual impairment, and she has a lot of people come into her home to help her get herself sorted out. So she can read those labels if she gets up nice and close, but this was really more for her carers that are coming in. So everything's labeled. You don't need to go to that extreme, but that's just one idea. This is my pantry here, very basic, all matching Tupperware. Again, I've just got 1 kilo size self-raising flour, and the whole packets just slide in. And then I just go and buy the size packets that fit in those containers. So we haven't got bits and pieces overflowing. At the time, and this photo was taken a while ago, my husband had bought a massive bag of rice. So we had rice everywhere, but I only buy the 1 kilo rice. I like it to stay fresh in the packets until we're going to use it. And I'm trying to cut down on the amount of carbs that we're having as well, and fill them up with vegetables rather than too many carbs. So again, very simple, matching, neat, tidy, very, easy, and the right size containers for me and my family. Oh, this is a photo of my mum's dear friend, Julie. She's actually passed away in the last 6 months or so. And this was her pantry that she had. And I just love the retro Tupperware containers. And then she had little baskets and things. On the left, there's a row of Aldi empty coffee jars with things in it. She's got some little steps at the front. Just loved it. Tiny little pantry. She's just one person in her little unit. Miss you, Julie. Next one, a client of mine that has, again, a lot of carers coming into their home. So she wanted to get it really organized. This is a clear plastic container from Kmart called Pantry with Handle. And she wanted to label the shelves rather than the container. So on the left is juices and jars, seeds and breadcrumbs, pasta and noodles and rice. So those drawers or those tubs can slide in and out like a drawer. That's quite deep, that pantry. It's awesome. It's a beautiful width and nice and deep. But you really do need something to be able to slide in and out to make best use of that space. So something like that container might be handy, but you could use just the cardboard box to do that as well. Again, this is my pantry at home. And just last week, I had to clear that whole level out and the one under it, because right in the back corner, it might even be the same can, it's peaches. It started leaking from the seal where how they make the tin, and the juice ran all the way from the back, drip, 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 all the way out the front where those anchovies are, and then started dripping down on the floor, and also dripped all the way at the back of the next level. So it's all neat and tidy and clean in there. But my point being with this one, a couple of big white tubs from Kmart. Again, I'm not sure what the other options are that you have across the world, but Kmart is a great one just to go to and get all sorts of things. Again, these things can slide in and out, and we've just labeled the containers. And the boys, my sons are 13 and 17, and they help unpack the groceries when we come home, and they know where things go in there. All right, so some more tips for easy storage. Put in the frequently used items where you can easily reach them, the less used things and the heavier items down low. Use a container that slides out like we showed, so you can really make use of that back storage. What have we missed with storage? As I said, there's a million different ideas out there. Vertically storing things is great, like trays or chopping boards. You can get little dividers with the spikes that will hold them up. They can be handy. You can get shelves within a shelf, little stackers and risers. Again, there's a million ways, but I think the simpler you have it, the less stuff you have in there in the first place is so much easier, and you don't need all the gadgets if there's less stuff. But let me know if I've missed something. Let me go to the chat. Thank you. Mary Lou's just adding something there. Oh yeah, there's the can of peaches. She's put it in. You are so good. She just put it in the chat. There's the can of peaches. It was a different can that I saw before, but that's the can of peaches that just dribbled everywhere and made a big mess. So there you go. Thank you. Susan, back to the food colouring, she said she used to do cake decorating and they are years old. Interesting, Susan. Do you think you'll keep them or let them go? Be interesting if food colouring goes out of date. Let me know what your thoughts are on what we've been talking about today, and if any of these tips have been helpful to let you make that decision. So that's easy storage. How good are we going for time? Good. Good on you. Susan says she will let the food colorings go. That's good. Good on you. All right, maintenance. So now that we've done all this hard work, we have stopped more stuff from coming in. We made the commitment to being organized. We sorted it. We decluttered it. We got the storage sorted out. How do we stay organized? Well, these are the maintenance tools to be able to do that. And the number one rule is to return it after use every single time. So you use the vegetable peeler, probably not a very good example. Use a vegetable peeler, you probably put it in the dishwasher or wash it. But if you were getting the scales out to measure something, you finish making the cake, whatever you're baking, and then you put that away straight away. Or if you're making dinner, you get the rice out, you pour it into your rice cooker or however you're cooking the rice, put the lid back on the rice and put it straight back in the pantry. Of course, you can have a time at the end of your cooking or your baking to do all of that. But my point being, there needs to be a pack up time. Return it to its permanent home every time you use it so that it is back there when you go looking for it. There are exceptions, as I said, but really would like you to start doing what organized people do, and that is be organized, do organized things, put them back in their permanent homes. Sometimes it might take you a little time to adjust as to where things are. A couple of examples of that are, a friend of mine had this brand new kitchen and they wanted to go the minimalist look with no handles. And so what you had to do is put your hand under the bottom of the drawers in the kitchen to pull it out. And she'd only been there a few weeks, or a couple of weeks even, when I visited, and she swore she was going to put some handles on it because she just couldn't get her head around it. But sure enough, another week or so passed and she automatically went to pull out the drawers with the proper under the drawer handle. So give yourself a bit of time to adjust. The other thing was, I was going to say about that moving things if it's not working. We renovated our kitchen 10 years ago, and I reckon for the first couple of years, I opened the wrong drawer. I considered the wrong drawer to get my Tupperware out. This is the containers we use for leftovers. I opened the wrong drawer every time. And I'm literally talking years before I thought, well, I should move them. So I just swapped them over, and lo and behold, I was opening the right drawer again. So give yourself a bit of time to get used to that new spot that it's going to live in, because that is going to work. But if it doesn't work, find somewhere else, or find a different container, or find something, a different way that's going to be easier for you to do. And then also periodically review the whole 6 steps occasionally. It might be the school holidays or something like that you go, all right, now, how can we stop more stuff coming in? So go right back and go through all the 6 steps, let go of more things, retweak your storage, and then making the maintenance easier. So this time, when you've got yourself pretty organized, and getting the maintenance going is really a good time to get the family involved. So they might be available to be helpful during the decluttering and the organizing step as well. But when there's less, when we're in this sort of maintenance phase, it's a really good time to get the team, your family members, involved and show them, oh, look what I've done. Can you see that I've got this labeled? Because some people just can't see things unless it's pointed out to them. This is where the tin tuna goes. This is where the mayonnaise goes. And point out the new systems. Because again, sometimes if we don't point these things out, our family members don't even see that there's a label there. So get them involved. And know the time of day to be able to keep up this maintenance and get these important things done each day, and even decluttering in itself. Know the best time of the day for you to do it. I'm an early morning person. If I need to get something done, it'll be in the morning. Please don't ask me to do anything after about 8:30 at night, because I'm in shutdown mode, ready for bed and sleep at 9:30. So you use your internal clock to tell you when your best energy is to get this important work done. Stay committed to being organized. And as I said, do these things that people do each day. Wipe down your sink each day, wipe down the kitchen bench. On the weekend, you might want to give it a little bit more of a scrub than just a quick wipe. But it's all for you and your family to be able to decide what level of organized, neat and tidy do you want to be? Because what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. After a little bit of practice, you will get the hang of it, and you will be an organized person. Now I'm going to finish up with a summary and tell you about the next upcoming workshops that we have coming up. So I'm about to do that in a sec. But if there's any other questions that we've missed, we've got 5 minutes. If there's anything we've missed, pop it in the chat or reach out to me after the session and say, oh, you know, you didn't explain this very well, or I've got this, how can I organize it? Or I've got these, how can I let it go? Let me know if we've missed anything today. So in summary, stop more stuff from coming in the front door in the first place. Makes life so much simpler. Beware of stocking up on food items or gadgets during sales. Sort like items, set up storage or permanent homes, and keep it up. Put it back in its permanent home every time. Start small, small wins, and keep going. As I said, consistency is the key. So in 2 weeks' time, we have the brainstorming session. This is going to be a session. Everyone's going to have their cameras on. It's going to be open mic, no recordings. This is come and ask your questions. It's, as I said, we're going to have a good chat about it. We're going to have some topics that we will sort of cover, but it's really going to be led by whoever comes. So Mary Lou has put the link in to register for that one. So that's in 2 weeks, the same time, Thursday, 6th of July. Bring your decluttering questions and let's talk about some solutions, tips, and tricks. So look forward to seeing you at that one. The fortnight after that is meal planning made easy, and that tailors in very nicely to this one. And Mary Lou has put the link for that one as well. Meal planning made easily. You know, what are you going to eat? How can we set up a nice, easy shopping list? How can we do the shopping easily? The online shopping option that we were given today is a great one. Or can we just get it delivered every fortnight? And then meal prep, and also, you know, tweaking our pantry spaces as well. So that's what meal planning made easy is going to be. And then the 3rd of August is tips to improve your focus. So if you're having it really difficult, get anything done, you want to write a novel, you're trying to sit down or read somebody else's novel, or you've just got lots of things on your to-do list, how can we improve your focus? What are these tips and tricks to improve your focus so you can sit and focus on one thing at a time, one project at a time, and be able to get those important things done? And again, Mary Lou has put that in the chat as well for you to register. And we have 2 minutes. Has anybody got any other questions before we wrap up? And feel free, Mary Lou's just put a link for a 15-minute discovery call in the chat. Book a time and ask me any specific questions that you have about anything we spoke about today or any other organising needs. Wendy says, thanks so much, has been brilliant. Lots of information to make our lives easier. You are welcome. Thanks, Wendy. So really have enjoyed everybody coming on. We've had Mary Lou. Thank you again, Mary Lou, Susan, Bridget, Jade. Good to see you again, Jade. Beryl, Viv, Bill, gold star to you. Thank you for coming again. Wendy, Diana, and BB. Now, I think BB may be Elizabeth. I think that might be. Haven't seen you for a while. If it is you, Elizabeth, thank you all so much. Awesome to see you. And would love to see you again at any of those sessions coming up. Don't forget to book a time for a chat if you need one. But I hope some of those tips and tricks to declutter. Thanks, Bill. We'll see you next time. Declutter with our mid-year kitchen declutter. Hope that has worked well for you, and see you at the next one. Bye for now.